Welcome to OMG Crochet and Crafts. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful sweater vest. This is a sweater vest that I've made for Mr. OMG, and he loves it. He looks so good in it as well, I'm not going to lie. But he is not an online person, so I'm not going to make him model it for you. Right, let's get stuck in. So today we are making a men's granny stitch sweater vest, and we are making it out of this gorgeous yellow Knitco Aran yarn that I got from Elsie's Emporium on TikTok shop. I highly recommend buying from Elsie's Emporium. This yarn arrived, I can't believe how quickly it got here. I bought it on Christmas Eve and it arrived on the 27th. So given that Christmas Day and Boxing Day are both bank holidays, I don't know how she got this to me so quickly, but she did, and I am ever so grateful for that. So we will be using this yarn. So this is an Aran medium weight size 4 yarn. We've got 200 grams per skein, and there is 420 meters per skein, and I'm going to be using 2 of them, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be using almost all of these 2 skeins. I'm also going to be using my size 5mm crochet hooks, and these came from my friend in America. Her Etsy shop is Bee Loves Me, and she sells the most beautiful things. She sent me a care package, gosh, back in September, which contains these beautiful crochet hooks, and also look at this gorgeous coaster. So okay, it's a little bit dirty because I've been using it, but the little eyes wobble and the monsters, aren't they cute? So yeah, she makes the most amazing things. Highly recommend, go and check out her shop. But yeah, so these are the hooks I'm going to be using. This is the yarn I'm going to be using. Let's get started. So when I'm working with skeins like this, I like a center pull from the yarn. Some people like to work from the outside in. I prefer to work from the inside out. I find there are less tangles in the yarn. If you work from the outside in, the yarn rolls around. I don't have a yarn holder. I prefer to work from the inside out. It makes more sense to me. So I've pulled some yarn out to start with, and we're going to start with a slip knot. And then we're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we are going to single crochet back into the second chain from the loop, second chain from the hook. We're going to single crochet all the way back across our chain. And right into that final chain as well. Okay, from here we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work, and now we're going to single crochet into the back loop only. So single crochet into the back loop only. So I remove my chain. Okay, so back loop only means going in from the top down into that loop there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and then into the back loop only. There we go, like so. And that is the pattern. So you chain 1 at the end of your row, turn your work, and then single crochet into the back loop only on every row. And we're going to do this for about 100 rows. Actually, not about 100 rows, we're going to do 100 rows. Okay, and we're going to keep going until we have 100 rows. So I'm going to leave you to get that done, and I will come back once we've got 100 rows of the ribbing. So I have worked 80 rows of rib for the neck, and I am now going to join the two pieces together at the top here. Sorry, bring everything with me. I'm going to slip stitch into the back loops of my chain. So we'll be still using the back loops of this side, and we'll be slip stitching into the loops there. So that's what I'm going to do next, and I will show you the next part once I'm done. So we've joined our round, and we're now going to do work a row of single crochets. Yes, single crochets into every row. So one will be where it looks a bit thicker there, one will be into that section, then one will be into that section. So you work around, so you have 80 single crochets after this row. So we have done our 80 rows of rib. I know I said 100 to start with, but I measured it on Mr. OMG, and it comes out to 80. He wants it to be higher up on his neck than the one I made for myself. So we stopped at 80 rows. We then slip stitched the two edges of the rib together, and we have completed a row of single crochets all the way around the ribbing. So you've got one single crochet per row in the ribbing. Okay, we're now going to start, get set up with the pattern to actually put our increases in, etc., etc. So this is going to be your setup pattern. Okay, so at first you're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and into that same stitch that you chained from, you're going to do a double crochet. Okay, and that is your first V-stitch, and we use the V-stitches for the increases. You're then going to chain 1, skip a double crochet, and then do 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches. So you chain 1, skip that double crochet, and work 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches. Then you chain 1, skip 1, and work 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches. And then you chain 1, skip 1, and work 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches. Oops, my yarn is coming out all tangled. Okay, and then you chain 1, skip 1, and work a V-stitch into your next. So it's a double crochet, a chain, and then another double crochet. Okay, and that is going to be your shoulder side. So this will eventually come out to work to be your sleeve. Okay, you're then going to chain 1, skip 1, and work 3 double crochets 6 times. So we'll start 1, 2, and 3. That's your first one. I just need to untangle some yarn. There we go. So that's your first double crochet cluster. Then you're going to chain 1, skip 1, work 3 double crochets, and then chain 1, skip 1, work 3 double crochets. So that's 3 double crochet clusters. Work another 3 of these. So chain 1, skip 1, and 3 double crochets. Work another 3 of these, and I'll come back once they're done. So I've done my groups of 3 double crochet clusters, and then I have chained 1. Okay, and we're going to skip the next stitch, and into the stitch after that we're going to do another V-stitch and chain 1, and then another double crochet like so. And then as we did on this side here, we're going to do 3 groups of chain 1, skip 1, and 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, skip 1, and 3 double crochets. Oops, 1, 2, 3, chain 1. So we've got the 3 groups of double crochets there. We've chained 1, we've skipped 1, we're working a V-stitch into the next stitch. And then for this next section, you're going to chain 1, skip 1, and work 3 double crochets. And you're going to do that 6 times until you come to the end of the row. So I'm going to get that done, and I will be right back. So I've done my 6 clusters of double crochets and chain 1, skip 1 in between. At the end of the row, I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going to join this slip stitch into the 3rd chain from the previous row. Oops, pull that a bit tight like so. And then I'm going to slip stitch into that V-stitch. Okay, and that is our setup row. So for this row and every row after, I'm going to show you the increases. The increases work exactly the same. This row we're going to be working in the same direction, but the next row we're going to be changing direction and working backwards across our work. So you're working back and forth rather than working in continual rounds. And that just keeps the join in the same place. I mean, it doesn't really matter so much at this point, but later on when we're no longer putting increases in, the join would move around the body if we didn't work backwards and forwards. So we're going to be working backwards and forwards. But for this row and every row afterwards, this is what you do. Okay. Sorry, I've got doors slamming in my house. Okay, so you chain 4 and double crochet into your chain. Okay, and then you chain 1. And into this chain next to your V-stitch, we're going to put 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3. Like so. Okay, and then we are going to put 3 double crochets into the next chain 1 space. 1, 2, 3, and again in the next chain space, and again in the next chain space. 1, 2, 3, and in the last chain space again. 1, 2, missed that, 2, and 3. At this point, we're going to chain 1, V-stitch into our V-stitch, so double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then chain 1. Okay, and into every chain space you're going to do 3 double crochets, and if you keep doing that, and I will meet you at the next V-stitch. So I've come to the next V-stitch and I've chained 1. So the pattern you do for every V-stitch, after you have done your 3 double crochet clusters, you chain 1, V-stitch, which is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then again you chain 1. Okay, so that's the pattern you work. We've worked halfway around. I'm going to leave you to do the other half. I'll meet you at the end of the row. At the end of the row, we're going to chain 1 and slip stitch into the 3rd chain of the start of our row, and then we're going to slip stitch into the V-stitch itself. So I'm going to work the rest of the row and I will meet you at the other end. Okay, so I've made it to the end of the row, and pull this out so you can see what we've done. This is what our project looks like so far. So those are our shoulders. But remember, this starts around the neck, not, right around the neck. It's higher up than, if you saw me make my purple version of this, the granny stitch jumper, the ribbed neck is much lower down than this will be. So this is a men's version of it. I mean, anyone could wear it. It doesn't have to be a men's version of it, but I'm making this for my other half, and this is the way he wants it to look. So for the next row, this is our first turning row. Okay, so we are inside our V-stitch. We're then going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and turn our work. Okay, we're then going to put a double crochet into the V-stitch, and this works exactly the same as the previous rows have. So at the V-stitch, you V-stitch and chain 1, and then double crochet cluster into every space between the existing double crochet clusters. Okay, so you keep working like so. So when you get to your V-stitches, after you've done your double crochet cluster in that chain space there, you chain 1, V-stitch, chain 1, and then work the rest of your double crochet clusters. So I'm going to get this row done. I'll come back to you at the end to show you the turn once again, and then we will continue to work on this pattern. Going backwards and forwards will continue to work until we get to the sleeve section, but I'll get this row done with you and show you the turn one more time. So I'm at the end of my row. I've done all of my double crochet clusters. I'm just going to chain 1 and slip this into the 3rd chain from our previous row, and then slip stitch into that V-stitch. I'm then going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to turn my work like so. And then I'm going to do a double crochet into that V-stitch and chain 1. So that is your turn. That is how you turn every row. And then you work your double crochet clusters as normal into the spaces in between the double crochet clusters and the spaces in between your V-stitch. When you get to your V-stitch, it's a chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and then you carry on with your double crochet clusters. So this is where we're at the moment. Let me show you. It's starting to take shape a bit. You can see the definition between the shoulders and the front and the back. And I'm going to continue working on this, I think, until I have about 10 rows. I'll have to measure this on Mr. OMG when he gets home to make sure that it fits properly. And I suggest you do the same for yourselves if you're making this. You can either, you can measure it up against a jumper, an existing jumper that you've got, And then what you would do is you would lay this flat, and then you would measure from the neck down to the sleeves, the underneath of the sleeve, the armpit area. And that's what you would do to make sure that it's the right length before we separate for the sleeves. But that's going to be another 7 or 8 rows before we get there, I think. Might be up to another 10 rows before we get there. But I'm going to work up until I've got 10 rows before I measure it on Mr. OMG. So how I count my rows is I count the V-stitches here. 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th row. So that is how I'll do it. I'm going to get the 10 rows done. So the next 7 rows done. And then I'm going to measure it on Mr. OMG to make sure it's the right size. Once I've got it to the right size, I will come back to you to show you how we separate for the sleeves and the body. So I've got so far on it, there's actually 11 rows on there so far, and I'm working on the 12th. I got up to 10 rows and realized that it wasn't going to fit. I've been trying this on myself, and Mr. OMG will be home from work shortly, so I'll be able to try it on him to see how much bigger I need to make it, but I think it's going to be another 2 or 3 rows. So yeah, make sure you're trying it on as you go to make sure that it fits you and fits you the way you want this to fit you. If you want it a little bit tighter, make sure it's tighter. If you want it a little bit looser, make sure it's looser. Once I've got it to the right size for Mr. OMG, I will then show you how to separate the sleeves and just work on the body. So I have worked 13 rows, and I've measured this on Mr. OMG. So I think this fits. I measured it last night, assuming 13 rows. So I'm going to show you now how to join it. Depending if you've done 13 rows and you've ended it with on this corner here with a row heading that way, heading towards the sleeve, this is going to be how you separate off from the sleeves to just working on the body. Now, regardless of whether or not you have to work back across this row to get to the sleeve side, this is what you will do on either side. It doesn't matter. So we've gone into our V-stitch. Okay, let me move this over so you can see it better. Okay, so we've gone into our V-stitch and we've got this folded in half because I'm going to be joining it in the V-stitch here to separate off the sleeve. So I've gone into the V-stitch there, and I'm just going to slip into the other V-stitch, just like that. Okay, I'm going to turn this over. So I am now going to work into the stitch here. So I'm going to slip into the stitch here. Okay, and I'm going to work chain 3 and do 2 double crochets for the double crochet cluster here. And then I'm going to work into each of the double crochet clusters as you normally would. Okay, I'm going to get this completed up to the next V-stitch, and I will come back to you. So when you get across the row and you've got 1 double crochet cluster to do before you get your V-stitch, I want you to do, I'm going to do 2 double crochets in this section and 1 double crochet in the V-stitch, and that's going to be my V-stitch on that side. And then I'm going to immediately put a double crochet into my V-stitch like so. And then 2 double crochets in this section here next to it. Okay, and that is how you join on the opposite side. So I've got 2 double crochets in this section here and a single double crochet in the V-stitch, and that's going to make 1 double crochet cluster. And then I've done exactly the same on the opposite side, so 1 double crochet on the V-stitch on this side and then 2 next to it. Okay, put this back on my hook, and we're going to work the double crochet clusters all the way around to the start of this row. So we have worked all the way back across the row. I've got 1 double crochet cluster left to do for the end of the row. 2 and 3. And then finally what we do is we're going to slip stitch into the top chain of this row, of the first chains of these rows. That is how we finish. We are then going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn our work. And we're now going to work in the opposite direction. So this is going to be our first double crochet cluster. So we put 2 double crochets in here, and then we work back across the row. And I'm going to work back across to the other sleeve and show you how we work across the joins that we've just made. So I'm going to work back across this, and I'll see you at this side. So I've worked back across the row and I've come to this join here, and I'm just going to show you how so this is the first where we did 2 double crochets and a single into the V-stitch. We're just going to use that as a 3 double crochet cluster, and we're going to put a double crochet cluster in between those 2. And then after them, and that is how we treat that join. So we keep working. There we go, like so. And that is how we treat that join. And that's how it will work. That's your sleeve. And you keep working just like that. We've gone over it and it'll be fine now. So you keep working till the end of the row. Then, like before, we slip stitch into the top chain, chain 3 to the start of the next row, and then turn our work and work in the opposite direction. And you keep doing that until the sweater vest is the length that you want it to be. I'm not sure how many rows that's going to be. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We're here at 14. I think in total from the collar down, we're going to be looking at around 35 to 40 rows. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me on that. Work it until it's the length that you want it to be, and then I will come back and show you how to work the ribbing on the bottom. Okay, right, so I have continued working my granny stitch round rows back and forth, although they are rounds, I guess, just not continual rounds. Back and forth until it's the length that Mr. OMG wants it to be. And I am now going to show you how we go about adding the ribbing along the bottom. It's quite a simple process, and we're just going to get stuck right in. So right from your the very last stitch that you've made, which is your slip stitch into your top chain, we are going to chain 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So we've got 10 stitches for the ribbing and 1 turning chain. Okay, which means our ribbing is going to be that wide at the bottom. Okay, we are then going to work a single crochet into the second stitch, the second chain from your hook, and every other chain moving up back towards the body. Oops, no, that was right. Thought I was making a mistake. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, once we reach the top, we're going to slip stitch into the next 2 chains on the row. So we're going to slip stitch into this one here, and we're going to slip stitch into this one here. Okay, and then we're going to turn our work. Okay, sorry, yarn's on the wrong side. Oh no, I've just did my work. There we go. Okay, so we're going to skip the first chain, and we are going to single crochet back across this row here, but into the back loop only. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And that is how you work your rib. At the end of this row, you'll chain 1 as a turning chain, turn your work, and we work back across this row, starting from the second stitch from your hook into the back loop only. You'll work your 10 single crochets, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pulling more yarn out, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then when we're at the body side, we will slip stitch into 2 rows like so, and then we will turn our work. Okay, once we have turned our work, we don't go again, we start from the second stitch from our hook and we go into the back loop only. So we don't want, sorry, that I misspoke. Remember, we don't go into either of the slip stitches we've just worked. We go into the ribbing itself. So we work into the back loop only for 10 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. We chain 1 and we turn our work. I have to turn it this way, there we go. And then we don't go into our chain stitch, we go into the second from the hook and to the back loop only. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We slip stitch into the next 2 stitches on our body, and then we turn our work and into the back loops only, and that is how you work your ribbing. So if you keep on working that for every stitch around your body and come back to me once you have finished your round of ribbing, I will show you how we will join at the other end. It's the same join as we used at the top, but I'll show you when we get to the other end. Okay, so this is my sweater vest, and I've just finished the ribbing along the bottom, and unfortunately I got a bit carried away and I forgot to show you how to close off the ribbing, but it's exactly the same as we did around the knit, so once around the neck even. So once you've worked all the way around the body, you'll join this on the inside. So doing the rows, you'll fold the edges together like so, and you will crochet the back loop only of both sides of your ribbing, and that is how it's joined on that edge. I'm now working on the arm holes, and this is very simple. I've joined underneath the arm, and I'm just putting a single row of one row of single crochets all the way around. I was going to put some ribbing on the sleeves as well, which you're more than welcome to do. However, I tried this on Mr. OMG and we like the sleeves exactly as they are. So I'm just putting a single row of single crochets around just to finish off the project. So this is my first sleeve at the moment. I'm working on that right now. I will come back and show you the finished product once I've finished off both of the sleeves. This is the finished sweater vest. It's absolutely stunning. I had originally planned to put some ribbing along each of the sleeves to finish it off, but I think that just the row of single crochets that I've put there have worked wonders for it. It keeps it nice and simple, and yes, it looks beautiful on.